Stugotz here. Let's take a minute for my friends at Advance Auto Parts, our friends at Advance Auto Parts. Listen, Dan and I ask the bare minimum. That's what we ask of you, the audience, okay? Take care of the people who support this show, who get the show, and Advance Auto Parts has been supporting this show for years now, and they get the show, and they have truly become friends with me, Dan, the shipping container, the entire Batard show crew. We love them. We love them. So take good care of them. Why? Because they take good care of us, because they get the show, because I'm telling you to. How about that? Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Amazing. Get this. Advance offers free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. 30 minutes. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
Well, we left our homes up in Bristol Bay for the waters of Miami shore. With a hippo at the helm and our severance pay, we fly the pirate flag once more. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Well, the ship is a wreck, shit stains the deck as Michael hollers fellas make more. And Billy is a worry that he's got the scurvy, cause Chris ate all the limes in store. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Now Roy is a chum when he's on the rum. He's the glue when we spring a leak. And Stu is a mess, he does less and less. And Greg sounded worse each week. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Someone yelled ahoy, who the hell's cabin boy? Somebody named Tony, who knows? Once we got the skip, well, a mean jump ship, cause he knew we would sail to gold. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. For the pirate radio.
Roy?
Do it.
Get the table!
Yeah.
We're killing it.
Your own table. I mean, yeah, computers in there. I mean, you got Whitney behind you. I mean, you can. Panthers are in first place, man.
Woo! All right. Ah, hot damn. We got a good team. Drieger? Drieger, that's the answer, right? Drieger's the answer, not Bob. Drieger.
Bob is getting paid $10 million per year, and he's living up to that contract. But, yeah, they have like a rotation going on with the goaltenders right now, and Drieger seems to be playing better.
Who starts game one, Roy? Game one is tomorrow night. Are you starting the guy you're paying, or are you starting the guy that has just looked better, eye test style?
Game one playoffs, you're saying, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, you got to go with Drieger because he's the one that's playing better.
Yeah, I trust him.
Driegs.
I trust Driegs. So, in a matter of a week, they've beaten both Stanley Cup final representatives.
That's right.
What?
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, representatives. They've beaten the Lightning. They've beaten the Stars. They're in first place in the Central Division presented by Discover. Is this fool's gold?
Well, the movies, the Shawshank Redemption, the plot of the movie is basically about hope. And there was two sides to that. There was red side, which is hope is a dangerous thing. And there was Andy's side, which is hope is the greatest of things. Right now, I'm on red side. I'm on, this might be, fool's gold right now. But we'll see towards the end of the season if the Panthers are still up there. But right now, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous right now.
I could have just said Stanley Cup finalist. Anywho, the defense was a problem last year. We all knew that. However, they didn't really address the defense with big names in the offseason. They really helped the defense by bringing in certain forwards that have that aspect to their game. Am I supposed to continue to expect that front line of the Florida Panthers to continue playing this well defensively? And is Jonathan Huberdeau what he's shown us so far this season, which is an absolute superstar and someone that could be an MVP contention?
Well, Jonathan Huberdeau, I don't know about MVP, but he's definitely one of the superstars in this league, and I think he's going to show that the entirety of this season. Him and Patrick Horncrest on the second line has been phenomenal. So look forward to that being even better down the line. Yes, Chris.
Roy, Huberdeau, his skill set, am I crazy to compare? I'm going to say the name LeBron. Like, I'm not saying he's the most dominant player, best player in the league, but just in terms of he's like a creator. He gets into the lane. His passing is just insane. Like, I see him as like a five-tool guy. He can do literally everything on the ice as opposed to just being like a scorer.
But he's not.
He's
like
a playmaker.
LeBron. Yeah, he's not LeBron.
He's not LeBron, but he's certainly a playmaker out there.
The passes, man. He's so good at hockey. I'm like new to this hockey thing.
Well said.
He's a professional hockey player, Chris. I mean,
impressive with the stick. What he can do, man. Whew.
Chris,
As
you
far
went
as passing is,
Chris?
I was there last night. Very socially distant. Very impressed by the whole process the Panthers have. Like taped out, like seats you can't even like sit on because they're taped off. I felt very safe and I enjoyed it.
How did LeBron do?
He did well, man. I'm telling you, he was cutting to the middle of the lane, dishing it out, behind the back passes.
You know, I had a moment like that with another player who this might not surprise you, but it's like one of those things where you go to a game, someone has like a great game, and you're like, oh my God, this player is like really good. And then you realize like, well, maybe it was just a good game.
Wait,
it
Billy,
was
you
Deion
left?
Waiters when he was
Okay.
on the Cavs.
okay, got it. Good.
Against the Heat, and I was like, wow, this Deion Waiters, he's good. This guy's good. And then he was on the Heat years later. I'm like, perfect.
There's so many different things that I like observed last night just watching that you don't normally pay attention to. I love watching the officials on a hockey rink like during the game. Yeah. They're almost dying every possession. They're almost getting slammed into the boards. Also, the camera guys. These guys are impressive. Those pucks move around quick. I saw this camera guy right in front of me. The way he's whipping that thing around, I was like, he's not getting any good shots. But his red light kept going on, man. They kept going to him.
Anthony Duclair actually skated into a linesman last night and kind of broke up the play. So sometimes that sort of thing happens.
Roy, real fast, another observation that I had last night. So our goalie is on like my side where I was sitting in the first period. Obviously, the second period, he switches sides and goes to the other end. But when the second period was about to start and they came back out onto the ice, Drieger, before going over to his new side, skated back over to the crease where he was for the first period and like took his skates and like as if he was like, this goalie's about to be here, I'm like messing up his turf and I'm going to... But then the goalie came out and saw him doing it and wasn't offended by it. Like it was almost like a respectful thing to do. What was he doing there?
Well, normally when you slush up the ice in the crease like that, that's supposed to slow down the puck. And that's not really something that Drieger should have been doing on the other
Why is he
crease in
doing that?
period.
He got
So
confused. He went to the wrong net. That's it. He was going to
Maybe.
do it at his own net, and he did it at the wrong net. He went to the wrong cage.
Mike, why are you laughing? You're laughing at Stugotz now. You were laughing at Chris Cote before.
Driggs.
What are the two things you were laughing at?
hockey experts here.
Yeah,
It's just
duh.
the way they talk about. You should have heard. You just walked in. You should have heard Chris Cote describe Jonathan Huberdeau. If you could indulge, Dan, once more, what is Jonathan Huberdeau so good at, Chris?
He's just an overall five-tool player. He's not just an offensive player. He gets in the lane. He's behind the back passes. He'll skate through 17 defensemen and still emerge with the puck. He's very impressive. He's good at hockey.
I think the answer Mike was looking for was hockey. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said he's like good at hockey.
LeBron.
Yeah, he's
Good
LeBron.
at it. Like not just like scoring. Like good at it.
Roy, I'm a hockey novice. What are the tools of hockey? Are there 5 tools?
I don't think one of them is spinning around behind your back, which is one of. I don't think those are one
The
of
old
the tools.
spinaroo, Dan.
So what are the tools? Aren't the two? Is the hockey player also a 5-tool player? Is it speed? Is it strength? Is it vision? Is it hand-eye coordination?
I'm guessing it's skating, passing, shooting.
I'm saying, are the 5 tools different? When you think of athletes and you call an athlete a 5-tool player, are they indeed 5-tool players in hockey? Or are there more tools? Because I know plenty of 5-tool players in baseball who can't skate. So I'm guessing that skating is one of the tools. It has to be, correct?
I mean, if you didn't know how to skate, you wouldn't be able to play now, would you?
Seems like a requirement.
But Cody, Greg, do you know what the 5 tools are? First of all, do you know if such a thing as a 5-tool hockey player exists? Is that a phrase that's used in hockey? And if so, what are the 5 tools?
The 5 tools begin with skating, which is an absolutely rudimentary skill. If you can't skate, you can't even pick up a stick. The other thing is, number 2 is holding a stick properly, which allows you that beautiful sweeping motion on the shot. The third thing is you have to be able to enter into a fight without embarrassing yourself.
Jesus.
Although that's not quite the skill that it was 10 years ago, because they've emasculated the sport. And Roy, what would the other 2 skills be? Because I'm out of skills.
The skating, passing, shooting, puck handling.
Yeah, passing.
Defense.
I forgot.
Defense, physicality.
Tenacity.
Those are 8 tools. That's a lot of tools.
Well, it's harder than baseball, Dan. I found on Reddit from 5 years ago someone whose username is crazy_knucklehead has the 5 tools in baseball.
I know what the 5 tools are in baseball.
I believe
I
hockey.
can give you the equivalent.
Yeah, I would like to hear that. I believe hockey has 6 tools, Billy. That's what I believe.
And goaltending, by the way.
Okay, well,
No, wait a minute.
Well,
Goaltending
everyone
can't
can't
be
have
one of
goaltending
goaltending's not
abilities.
one of the tools. It's one of the tools for a goaltender. It's not one of the tools for any of the other hockey players.
Tell that to Driggs.
The coach in D3 that replaced Gordon Bombay, he always told Charlie Conway he's got to play 2-way hockey. So maybe there's only 2 ways.
Yeah. Barkey plays 2 ways.
Offense, defense.
That offense, defense. That's what you meant by that.
Yeah. He also said, be prepared to make the first move, Conway, when playing defense.
I have a question about goaltending. And Roy, you're the hockey expert, so you can answer.
Thank you for playing off your son in a way that didn't make him feel totally alone there, in a way that fell completely out of the Zoom because he said something that nobody was listening to. Please continue,
Right.
Greg.
Roy, why can't, and you're going to think I'm kidding with this comment, but I'm really half serious. Why can't an NHL team find like an 800-pound
Fat guy in
man
the goal. Here we
to
go.
literally
Christ
Here we
almighty.
go
fill
again with the fat
the
guy
goal?
in the goal.
He's so big.
Right.
Like picture Jabba the
All right,
Hutt.
put it on the poll, Guillermo. Should hockey be looking for goaltenders on my 600-pound life?
You would agree that Jabba
Right.
the Hutt, it'd be like a wall. I mean, he'd be the best goalie
Yes.
in the history of hockey, would he not?
you'd agree with that.
You
wouldn't
have to stay on your skates. You have to be able to squat and be physical and in shape enough
learn.
to not just sit there and lay there in front of the goal
Why?
like a blob.
There's no rule.
There is a rule. There
Really?
is
Is there a rule?
You have to be on
Why
your
can't you
skates.
just
How do you
sit in front
know?
of the
You
goal?
can't, because I've asked this. I asked this question 20 years ago when I didn't know anything about hockey, and hockey came into town. I'm like, why can't we just put a sumo wrestler in the goal?
Oh, yeah.
And it was
There you go.
explained to me
You were ahead of the
20
time.
years ago.
I forgot.
And
What'd they say?
And the Panthers, I just told you, and the Panthers haven't been any good since then. And so the way that Greg Cote, career columnist at the Miami Herald, begins his hockey coverage after asking if goaltending was one of the tools of the 5-tool hockey player, Greg Cote limps in with put a sumo wrestler in goal.
Well,
Guys,
I'd say a sumo wrestler, but your point's well taken.
it's 2021. I'm not here for the body shaming of sumo wrestlers as though they're not professional athletes. A sumo wrestler can squat. Sumo wrestlers are probably more athletic than I am and that any of us are. Sumo wrestlers got to go down, and then they go up and they punch. They go, and they do the pushing thing. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sumo wrestlers could definitely squat, and they're more agile than we think. They can. Sumo wrestlers could be quick as cats.
It's
You want
not.
those 5 tools?
It's not just squatting. It's squatting on skates. Like there's. Okay.
But
You
to-
squat on land, you squat on skates.
Exactly. But to Greg's point, why not just put a larger, like a Magnus Van Magnuson? Why not put him in the goal? It'd be impossible to score on that guy, would it not?
Yes.
It would absolutely be possible to score on that guy, Stugotz.
It would be.
Yes, it would. First of all, shooters are pretty accurate, so they can find the corners and just snipe it past them easily. Plus, there's passing, so now you're getting these goaltenders, these oversized goaltenders out of position.
Just don't
Which
move.
makes it easy. Don't move.
I think the better question would be, if you insist on entertaining this, is there a human being large enough that if you change the rules and didn't force a hockey player to remain on his or her skates, that person can be in front of the entirety of the goal in a way that would not allow a single puck to go into the net if that person just sits there like a blob?
I trust Ndamukong Suh with this task.
The other thing about this is there are maximum requirements to the goaltending equipment, so it probably wouldn't fit these oversized people.
No, you get custom equipment. And this whole staying on the skate
I just
thing.
said those.
I'm not a hockey expert. I'll start with that.
Expert.
I see plenty of hockey goalies on the ice, kicking their legs in the air, trying to make these dramatic saves with their gloves. They're not on their skates the whole time. It's not like if they're down, it's like, all right, you're down, we got to reset. They're on the ice all the time. They just have to be on the ice, on their skates for a second, and then they just fall down. Whoopsie daisy. And then they just start going and doing their blocking thing.
Those are desperation plays, Billy.
I nominate Whitlock.
Chris, how do you feel about what it is that's happening with Tua and the Miami Dolphins, where you have a couple of things happening? One, you have ESPN Upstate reporting that Deshaun Watson is available to only the Jets, the Dolphins, and Carolina. And then, on top of that, you have a situation that you don't see all the time in these scouting interviews and the lead up to the draft, where Devontae Smith is being asked who he prefers, Tua or Mac Jones, and he immediately answers Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones Mac Jones made Devontae Smith into what it is. Like, it makes sense that he would pick the guy that made him the Heisman candidate.
Yeah, I guess. Mac Jones was really, really good. He was for 2 seasons for Alabama. It was very good. So I'm just surprised to hear him pick one. That's all.
I'm wondering, though, how and where we are with Chris Cote and his wavering as it regards Tua, because he has been a bit of a ship in the sea in a storm.
Tua, listen, I am going all over the place with this. Yesterday, I saw those pictures where he was running. He had a Billy Gill thing going on. As I've dissected these pictures even further, I'm not as impressed with these pictures. The only one that was impressive of him looking jacked was the one where he looked like Billy Gill. I'd rather have, if you're asking me, Dan, I want Deshaun Watson. That's the question. That's where I'm at right now on the wavering.
Today.
Here's what you need to be worried about in those pictures, Chris, is the picture that we saw was a very jacked right arm, but he's left-handed. So we need to see what the left arm's looking like, and then we can fully determine how this offseason is going for him. You'd assume that his right arm and his left arm are growing at the same rate, right? Who knows, though? You've seen some tennis players' forearms. They grow at different rates. Yeah. So actually, Chris, this could be a source of optimism. If his right arm is looking that good, imagine what his left arm is looking like.
Has there ever been a player who's more needed like a marketing campaign during the offseason? I feel like everyone is trying to convince me that Tua Tagovailoa is good when my eyes told me very much that he wasn't. Like, I saw there was a story that Mike Gesicki at some Penn State football dinner was talking about how, I'm a huge believer in Tua. Like, there's all these stories. There's like a huge campaign around trying to convince me that Tua is good. Like, I saw that he wasn't. And, I'm not saying that he won't be, but it's bizarre the length that everyone in the Dolphins organization is going to try and tell me that Tua was actually good.
I understand what Smith is doing and backing up his quarterback, even though both are his quarterback. But be wary of this Mac Jones stuff. The analytics, not too kind to Mac Jones. Pro Football Focus has a metric that grades quarterbacks beyond their first read, and he's not good. He's not good beyond his first read. He's kind of the guy that if he holds the ball longer than 2.5 seconds, you want to throw away.
Was always the first read, though.
But this is why fans don't like this, Mike, because the analytics said Sam Darnold was going to be great, and he's been anything but great. I mean, no one knows.
I think you're doing something with the analytics. Because,
I don't think I am.
No, Sam Darnold was always a high ceiling.
He wasn't accurate. He wasn't the kind of accurate that people associated. Romo said that, but it wasn't because Romo was using advanced metrics.
Yeah, forget analytics.
I'm getting the information from Mina. Mina told me the analytics said that Sam Darnold was great.
She liked Sam Darnold as a prospect, but beyond analytics, just look at the simple counting stats. He was very reckless with the ball in college. That was always the book on him. The scouting report was if he could figure that part of the game out, he has a high ceiling. Well, that's a pretty big if. If someone can stop turning the ball over, is massive. Not a lot of players figure that out. They can't all be Baker Mayfield.
But this Mac Jones, I like that. He sees what he wants and he throws the ball to that person. That's a good thing. Analytics.
What he wants is the Heisman Trophy winner wide open.
Who wouldn't want that?
With Tua, what am I doing here? Could it be that he's too kind? He looks just too nice. I need my quarterback to have some Baker Mayfield in him. Like, he'll
for the
stick it
love
to the
of God.
media.
Two Baker Mayfield
He
references.
I don't
from you
know,
two?
man. There's just something about Tua. I feel like that's what Dolphin fans are doing. They're overcompensating, saying how good he is at these little things that we don't really see, just because he's so passive, and the Dolphin fans are so invested in him that it's
disgusting. Disgusting. Classic nice guys finish last situation here, where you
is.
just want a bad boy that treats you poorly because Tua's too nice and he brings you flowers on the first date, and you're like,
he loves his parents a lot.
What?
I want a bad boy a little bit.
Too much.
He's just too perfect.
Wow,
He loves
Mike
his
said
parents
it.
too much.
Mike said it. I can't believe he went out
Thank
there
you,
and
Mike.
said it. That is a shocking thing to say. The take was not strong enough. Mike strengthened it up a little bit.
Look, he loves his parents too much. Everyone here, whether it's their Cuban background or whether it's a situation like Dan where you invite him to dinner and his parents come, it's not the greatest situation to be attached at the hip to your parents. It's at such an age. And I think Tua really has to break off from his parents at this point. It's a take you're not hearing.
So we
anywhere
want a
else.
Chris Cote that's crapping on his dad every week nationally?
Yes.
No, but
That's
he's too
exactly
focused
what
on his
somebody-
family. Focus on football.
Use your dad to climb in your life and then cut him at every turn. That's the way to do it.
You all, all of a sudden we've gotten to the
Disgusting.
point where we're criticizing the Samoan culture. Can't we? This guy Tua is being criticized and doubted all over the map now that we're questioning his heritage, because that's part of the Samoan culture, is to cherish past generations. Tua did nothing as a rookie to engender this doubt.
Exactly.
He did fine as a rookie. He needs more tools around him.
Love his
Now, I'm not
parents
saying
so
I
much.
wouldn't rather have Deshaun Watson. I would in a heartbeat. But Tua moving forward with tools around him, including a premier receiver and an extra lineman and a good running game, he's got a chance to be a great quarterback. And to doubt him based on what you saw of him as a rookie is really over the top. It's uncalled for. And that's why the Dolphins have come out at every opportunity to say, Tua's our guy, because they hear all this static in the background doubting this kid.
There's the homer, as ever. He is there for you. He is indignant. He is saying that people are out of line. But I think I'm with Whittingham on the idea of, I do feel like a whole lot of people who are biased in him working out are trying to convince me that he's better than what I saw last year. I feel like Whittingham's general overarching theory is a correct one, that there are a whole lot of people who are tied up in the investment who are trying to convince us that our eyes are lying to us on what we've seen so far. And his point is well taken on. It doesn't mean that he can't be good. It just means that what you saw last year didn't look a lot of times like it was franchise quarterback great. It just didn't look that way.
But that's virtually every quarterback on every team in the offseason when they didn't have a great year. Like, T.O. was crying over Tony Romo, saying that's my quarterback when people would criticize Tony Romo. That's what football does. That's football, guys. I hope the Dolphins are taking notes of all you naysayers here, and they're keeping track that Greg Cote is the only one that's keeping the right path, saying, you know what, let's give this Tua a chance. And then when Tua becomes a megastar, they remember all the naysayers in this room and everyone that doubted Tua. Because guess what? Greg Cote never wavered once.
He said at the end of his statement he'd rather have Deshaun Watson. I mean,
well, all things equal, but that
that's
does
tough.
see. It's not an either or thing. You can believe in both things. Yes, Deshaun Watson is a proven elite quarterback. Of course, I'd rather have him instead of Tua, but it doesn't mean that I doubt Tua's ability to become a really good quarterback. And I don't know what you all saw last year. What I saw was a rookie who went 7-3, who led a couple of fourth quarter drives, and who did a lot with very little around him. Because when oft-injured Devontae Parker is your elite receiver, you need help in the receiver room.
But Greg, when they're on the road in Las Vegas and Tua's having a nightmare and they bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, did you think that Ryan Fitzpatrick was better in that situation than Tua? And in Week 17, when you have to go on the road and win in Buffalo and you get tonked, would you have thought that Ryan Fitzpatrick would have been better in that scenario? And if Ryan Fitzpatrick is the preferable quarterback in this spot, then you have to at least have a shred of doubt.
No, I don't have doubt.
You don't know who you're talking to, Whittingham, if you think there's a shred of doubt that
you changed his mind.
You add everything you're saying and then combine it with he's being compared to the two draft picks who showed you more flashes. There's no dispute of that that Burrow and Herbert showed you more in the way of flashes, maybe because they have more help. I don't know.
Right.
Cincinnati's
Maybe.
help doesn't. No,
Burrow had no help.
Cincinnati's help
Stay
doesn't
strong,
impress
Greg.
me a whole lot.
Burrow had some good receivers.
No.
Just because they're not household names doesn't mean they're not great and well. Burrow has, but he had a terrible offensive line. I think that's it. We keep hearing about how he doesn't have help, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in as a relief pitcher, and all of a sudden the weapons actually look like they're threatening weapons. Tua could be good, but what's happening here with Tua isn't that hard to figure out. He just didn't look that great his rookie season. That doesn't mean he can't be great, but you're absolutely right to have your doubts when he hasn't been as good comparative to some of the other quarterbacks even in his own class.
How could you not have your doubts? First off, Deshaun Watson on a bad team, and no one had it worse than Deshaun last year, had 36 total touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 5,000 yards passing on the worst team in the league. I mean, that's the guy you want. The Dolphins should give everything they have to 2 first-round picks to go get that quarterback.
The Texans' skill guys were better than the Dolphins' skill guys.
I mean,
What the hell's going on here? 2 weeks ago, you guys were buying Nokia and GameStop and all these companies that had failed for you. Believed in them, and you won't give a shot to this rookie quarterback who only played a handful of games. And you know what? Showed me something. I saw something in his eyes. I saw something in his gut. I saw the fire there. Translate onto the field and play? No, but it was in his eyes and his heart. And you know what, guys? You're playing the games wrong, babies. You got to sell this guy, because even if he's bad, you got to have other people think that he's good, and they're listening and they're watching. You could trade Tua for Deshaun. Now's when you sell Tua. You say, oh, my God, he's great. There's something big inside of him. There's a monster that's going to come out of there. This is what you need to say, because the Texans are listening to this show right now. So you need to convince them that Tua can be good so that you can dump Tua, because he's probably...
Where else do you see things? You see things in the eyes, the heart, the gut. Where else do you see
soul,
things?
Dan.
The soul
His
as well?
essence.
His essence as well?
yep.
An essence that is too nice to his parents.
Definitely.
Way too nice.
No such
Way
thing.
too nice.
Way too nice.
Consume
Doesn't he-
with them. I mean,
Yeah.
Doesn't he look sad when he throws an incompletion? Like he looks up at the jumbotron, like where did that go wrong? And he has this very sad disposition.
I think he's looking at Dad. That's it. Yeah.
He's like, oh, keep in mind some of those quotes from Dad last year. It's just, I'm just saying, there's a fear factor there that shouldn't be ignored.
On this marketing campaign, the other one that I noticed too, so Patrick Mahomes, when they played the Chiefs, goes out of his way to go super complimentary about Tua. Oh, I think he's great. He's got all these traits. And then, of course, I looked it up, and they have the same agent. So, like, there's a whole campaign going on here. Try and tell me that Tua's good.
That's another one I'm not convinced about, with campaigns telling me how great he is Mahomes.
Oh, for the love of God. I mean,
Took a step back.
This
I
is
mean,
where
it did, yeah.
your quarterback analysis wasn't bad enough. You're going to double down on something worse now? You're going to say it's not? All right, what does Mahomes have inside
I mean,
him?
if you guys are into celebrating incompletions, then you guys should love Tua. What's the deal? Why aren't you guys happy with Tua?
All right, let's
Because the last game they got hammered.
no, let's hear
They were
the
destroyed by-
analysis.
What was
It was a
what
win
Patrick
you're
Mahomes'
in.
last game look like, friend?
Very true.
Friend and babies. He's hit us with a friend and babies.
I love it.
I had coffee this morning, guys.
Greg, you trade everything you can for Deshaun Watson. Everything you possibly can. I don't know if you saw that video of J.J. Watt putting his arm around Deshaun Watson at the end of last season saying, we wasted such a great year. Dan flippantly said the Texans had better weapons, and I think you could certainly make that argument. But Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, not at the peak of their powers. Will Fuller had an actually pretty good year, to the point on Thanksgiving, I'm like, what is this guy on steroids? Turned out he was.
Yes, he missed like 6 weeks. Exactly.
David Johnson, like those weapons were in and out. Deshaun Watson's a special quarterback when healthy. If he wants to come to your team, you do whatever you can to make it happen, and you figure the rest out.
We talk about this position all the time, the most important position in sports. The Dolphins are positioned to go get one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, whether it's the black head coach, the black GM, the young quarterback, all the draft picks. They are in a position to go get what could be a missing piece. Go get him.
Tepper's getting him. Tepper wants Deshaun Watson.
Why would he want to play there, Deshaun Watson?
He went to Clemson. They're the Carolina
No,
Panthers.
I know, but he wants to win, Mike.
They're pretty well positioned. They're
Not-
as well positioned as the Miami Dolphins, really.
Not if you give up McCaffrey and 3 first-round picks.
Well, we'll see exactly what the deal is.
Greg Cote, Russell Wilson, it's being said, is costing you 3 first-round picks. This is what is being reported. Greg, you have seen the media change a great deal in our lifetimes. And this is something that I don't know how to measure the accuracy on. ESPN Upstate, which is a radio affiliate that covers the Carolinas, is reporting that he has approved trades, Deshaun Watson has, to the Jets, Dolphins, and Panthers. I'm not interested in the minutia of this. I'm interested in whether the reporting is credible or not. Is ESPN Upstate, by virtue of having the ESPN letters, is that something that makes it true for you? Yes or no, that Deshaun Watson has approved trades to Carolina, the Jets, and the Dolphins? And if not, where do you put the bar on what's true when it comes to the reporting around Deshaun Watson?
I tend to believe it because all of the speculation has centered on those teams and maybe Denver. I wouldn't totally rule out John Elway's ardor for Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's that, Deshaun Watson is strong-arming this whole thing, using his leverage beautifully. And if he has a chance, he has a chance to determine exactly where he goes. And I think he has narrowed it down to those teams, and it makes a lot of sense. We saw, where everybody's reading tea leaves, and Deshaun Watson was down here partying with a few of the Dolphin players just a week or two ago. And I don't doubt that those are the teams, maybe along with Denver, that he's narrowed it down to. And I think all of them are going to throw mega deals at this guy. The question is, unlike what Mike said, you have to draw a line somewhere. You can't give up 2 first-round draft picks this year and next year and, 4 players. And you have to leave yourself something to build around because, as great as Deshaun Watson's individual stats were last year, the team was horrific. They were awful because he didn't have help. And if he walks into that same situation in Miami, I don't know that the bottom line is going to be much better in terms of wins and losses.
I wouldn't judge whether or not he has help down here based on what Tua can do, because when Ryan Fitzpatrick's out there, it looks like Ryan Fitzpatrick has plenty of help to the point that he's throwing the ball all over the field. It's not that Tua doesn't have the weapons on the outside to not throw the ball downfield. He throws one of the nicest sideline patterns in the NFL. He just doesn't do it enough. He doesn't do it. He doesn't let the weapons be special that he has on the outside, so you don't even have a representative sample to know if those weapons are good or not.
I always worry about the quarterbacks that need help. If you're a great quarterback, the players you have are good enough. You'll make them better. You'll make good players great. That's what you'll do if you're a really, truly great quarterback.
Whatever the asking price.
But didn't you just say there's a reason that Deshaun Watson had terrific individual stats last year, but the team didn't win?
I thought you just got done saying, Stugotz, that Deshaun Watson's skill players were the worst in the league, so he didn't make anybody better according to the way that you're doing the analysis.
No, but he had a great season with, Cutie as his number 2 wide receiver. I'm not even certain I'm saying that name right.
But Stugotz, you're the ultimate WL guy. They didn't win.
Yeah, okay, but what did he do the last season?
Wasn't because of him. He was up 24 points against Patrick Mahomes.
He played every game and they didn't win.
I know, but he was up 24 against Mahomes the year before that.
I will say, to Chris's point, though, it is shocking that Deshaun Watson was healthy an entire season and the Texans were that bad. That can't be dismissed.
I dismissed it.
Whose team had 10 wins? 2 was.
Fitzpatrick had 7 of them.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Okay, there it is. There it is. He just threw a number out there. There's no fact to it. And he just, hey, look it up. Yes, he did. And when you said no, he didn't, his response is yes, he did. And there we go.
Sports radio.
And the segment. Yeah, sports radio done poorly. Not on the radio.
Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Roy, while everyone was doing dolphin talk, I was Googling what the difference could possibly be between Bobrovsky and Drieger outside of Bobrovsky's immense salary and the fact that Drieger we all think is better. They're different types of goalies. Bobrovsky's more of your standard butterfly goalie, and Drieger, who's turned to yoga, which is a skill set I want all my goalies going to, by the way, is this reverse vertical horizontal goalie. Have you heard about this? It's basically like a hybrid butterfly, like half their body is butterfly and the other half just hugs the post. I feel a lot safer in terms of the angles that you're giving the shooter. There's Drieger, man. I'm telling you, he should be our number one.
Yeah, hybrid. Yeah, that's the new type of goalie, like the combination of stand-up and the combination of butterflies. So, yeah, that's hybrid of goaltender. Yeah, that seems to be the new thing going around. Goaltenders.
Well, then why would Bobrovsky still be a butterfly? Because then he just leaves a top shelf where Mrs. Mueller keeps a peanut butter exposed the entire time.
Well, now you're just changing the game of how a goaltender has been brought up to play. That's kind of hard to do.
Is this an analytics thing where we're moving away from butterfly goalies because the shooters had figured this out?
I don't think it's an analytics thing. I just think it's just a style of play that goaltenders are being brought up now. I don't think it's an analytics thing.
He good is that Stars goalie, by the way? My God.
Yeah, I was worried after that first period because it looks like he was in playoff mode for a little bit, but then the Panthers just started throwing shots at the net.
Yeah, well, that's how you win. You throw shots. Just throw the biscuit in front of the net, see what happens. Remember, the puck, it's oddly shaped. It can take a couple of weird bounces for you. But the Panthers, I was a little worried last night because they were doing that thing that we warned against all of last year, Roy. They were pissing the Dallas Stars off. You do not want to do that. The chip on their shoulder is immense.
Well, now if you piss the Panthers off, it's going to be a problem because they have shown a lot of resilience this year.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. If you piss the Panthers off, do you have some problems? And also, is indeed the hockey puck oddly shaped? Because the football is oddly shaped, but the hockey puck is just circularly shaped. I don't feel like it is all that oddly shaped.
And you've never heard the term tricky biscuit?
Mm-hmm. I don't care about whether it's a tricky biscuit or not. I don't think of it as oddly shaped.
No, it's that vulcanized rubber on the ice. I mean, it just takes crazy bounces all over the place.
But that's not
like a frog.
That's not an oddly shaped. You think it's a frog.
It's haphazard. I mean, everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looks like a frog.
Vulcanized haphazard frog.
Right. Real pissing match last night then, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely a pissing match last night.
Cody, do you have any contributions on the Panthers other than wanting to put a sumo wrestler in goal? Do you have anything here that you can bring us in the way of columnist expertise as a reporter in this market since the franchise? Please rub all the sleep out of your eyes before it is you get to whatever it is the plenty is in your analysis.
Well, first of all, not many of us have actually held a hockey puck. I have, and I'm here to tell you it's surprisingly heavy. It has the heft of a highlight pelota, and it's very it's a heavy piece of equipment. And the other thing I have to observe is that the Cats. I always refer to the Panthers as the Cats because I feel like they're my team, even though I never go to a game.
Many people do.
Has Huberdeau taken over this team? Because Roy, for 5 years, it was Barkov's team, right? Sasha Barkov, the budding superstar, and now it seems like it's Huberdeau's team. Who's the face, the rightful face of the Panthers right now?
Oh, it's still Sasha Barkov's team. I mean,
you think?
He's the captain.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean that's an honorarium, right? I mean, come on.
All right,
isn't Huberdeau a better player right now?
Greg, this is not good enough for me to ask you for your expertise and you to ask Roy who's the face of the team is not showing off your expertise. Let's get you off of the computer and off of the microphone and get you back on a landline. I feel like
that was the reason.
I feel like you haven't been your best self here in the first hour here, and I feel like we found a secret formula here. So if you could please just call into the show and pace around the room, maybe we can get better hockey analysis out of you than asking Roy who's the face of the team.
You know
by asking that question, I'm implying that Huberdeau is now the face of the team. I was just hoping I'd have the heft of Roy's expertise to back me up on that.
I appreciate Greg as an influencer in this market for actually having the discussion too many media types are afraid to actually have, Dan, because you didn't want to answer the question, whose team is this, Huberdeau's or Barkov's?
I don't want to answer the question.
Why
because
not?
What are you hiding, Dan?
Yes.
I think it's a terrible, terrible sports radio podcast question for our audience specifically.
Okay, who takes a final shot then?
Right.
Who takes a final shot?
Wait, no, we go to penalty shots, and you have to have one guy to take your final penalty shot. Who is Dan Lebitard choosing? Huh? Huberdeau?
I'm choosing a different profession if that's the route I choose to make content out of.
It's kind of like the Anthony Davis-LeBron debate.
Really
Whose
is.
team is it, Huberdeau or Barkov?
Did you guys see how lazy LeBron? That's too many regular season games played right there. Losing to the Wizards. I don't want to do this anymore. That was the laziest, most bored game-tying shot I've ever seen taken by a player. Like, that was absolutely him just coming up against the Wizards. I'm down 3. All right, this'll do. I'll do it from over here. Nowhere near the rims, kind of sideways. And it made a sound. It sounded like a washing machine was hitting the backboard.
I love bored LeBron going for 31, 13, and 9.
But the end of the game, you know what I'm talking about. At Lebitard Show, Gamma, put it on the poll. Was that the most bored game-tying shot you have ever seen someone take from LeBron last night?
Someone took the sound of the shot and remixed it against Gnarls Barkley's Crazy, you know, like the beginning drum beat, because it made such a bizarre sound off glass.
Can you do that, Mike? Can you get us just
Gnarls Barkley
can
for
you
their
get us
music
the
rights?
Can you get us the sound of the shot so that we could just play for the audience that it sounded like a washing machine, the top of a washing machine hitting, just taking off. What is that? The top of a washing machine when you take it off and you unhinge it. What is that called? Do you have any idea what the top of that is?
A cover?
A lid?
A lid. Yes. Like
This,
if
you can understand Dan asking that question.
When do you think is the
you
last time I
unhinge the lid?
used a washing machine?
There are front loaders now, you know.
The lid. Yes, I actually have front loaders. Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
Roy.
I see it. Massive.
So you think LeBron just wanted to go home last night? Like that? Was
Did you
that the
see
way
it?
it came up? No, I'm trying to find it right now. Did I see it? I wasn't watching Lakers Wizards at 1 a.m. Were you?
Yeah, you had action.
It doesn't have to be at 1 a.m. You could just come in and watch some highlights before you come in and do the show. It's not like there's an
TVs
absence.
don't work,
An absence of LeBron in the world. The TVs in the world don't work.
I don't have one in my car.
I thought you listened to sports radio 90 minutes coming in.
I did. No one painted a picture of LeBron's final shot last night.
I thought that
Jay,
whenever
Will, Zubin, and Keith.
I thought whenever LeBron takes a final shot, we're obligated as a country to talk about
Nah,
it.
he kept winning. He kept winning, so we just moved on.
Yeah.
Now it's just Jordan versus.
But now he's losing. They're playing him a ton of minutes. He doesn't have Anthony Davis out there, and we've all got perspective now. We've got perspective about the regular season. If he's that bored about it, then we'll be bored about it too.
I don't think it's perspective. I think it's fatigue.
Well, he said he never gets tired.
No, we have fatigue talking about him.
I didn't feel like you got tired of talking about it when they beat the Lakers and Caruso was taking the last shot a couple of games ago when the Heat beat the Lakers.
I mean, I did. I only talked about it during the local hour. And once again, I see the headlines from this game. Wizards beat shorthanded Lakers. The shorthanded Lakers should beat the shorthanded Wizards because that's not a good team. They get a lot of credit for when Anthony Davis is out, but they're champions. They've earned that. I just wish the same credit was extended to the Eastern Conference champions.
I just figured the game would get you more excited about Bradley Beal. I mean, he beat LeBron on the road.
I love
He played
Bradley
great.
Beal.
Yeah.
I love Bradley Beal, and where I wouldn't give up Tyler Hero for James Harden, I would give up Tyler Hero for Bradley Beal. And I like Tyler Hero. I think he has an immensely high ceiling. I'm just a big fan of Bradley Beal.
Wow, 2 shocking comments from Mike Ryan here early in the show. One is he would trade Tyler Hero for Bradley Beal. 2, and the more shocking one, I've never heard this take before, Tua loves his parents too much, and it's a problem.
Mm-hmm. I got plenty. You want another one? Prince of Wales champions, Florida Panthers. How about that? Wait, is it the Prince of Wales now? Because the conference
I don't know what it is this year. There's no
like
conferences.
So, Roy, can you explain, as we close this hockey loop, there's the Central Division presented by Discover, and there's 4 divisions right now, and the Panthers are only playing teams in the regular season. It's a shorter regular season. They're only playing 12 teams in their own division, back-to-back style. It's like baseball series. And then there's an extended playoff, is there not? and then you can finally play teams from the other divisions. But how's a conference breakdown? There's an entire Canadian division. What conference is that? Do we do total realignment in the postseason?
There's going to be a reseed after the first round, apparently. But I don't know how this playoff format is going to go. This is even confusing me.
Roy, we're in the season, and you have no idea, like, if there's conference distribution?
I looked at it last night. I couldn't figure it out. Like, you go in, you face one of the divisions. I don't even know what division you're going to end up playing against going into what would be the third round.
Right.
Like, it's very confusing to me.
So there are no conferences. There are no conferences. Well, then what happens to the Prince of Wales? What?
You're going to still get a trophy, apparently, after the third round. I just don't know which trophy you're going to get.
How do they decide this? This is absurd. This is madness.
Can you guys give me some perspective on this? Because I feel like with what's happened during the pandemic and what's happened in general over the last 10 years of us following sports, I feel like we have arrived in a point where all of us realize in 2021, with the number of options that you have there for your attention and the constant bombardment of stimuli, that we have all realized more than ever, even though it's been a complaint almost the entirety of my lifetime, that these regular seasons are way too long, especially baseballs. But tying it into what you guys are talking about with the changes in the playoffs during the pandemic, the adding of teams, basketball and hockey have always been sort of bogus in terms of inviting everyone to the playoffs. And baseball for a long time held out, and they played the 162 games because it mattered that you'd get to 4 finalists, and then they added wild card teams. And what I'm asking you is how many more teams and things do I have to do before everyone in sports, by consensus, sports fans are like, all of this is going on too long. The regular season is just money grabs, televised programming meant to just keep your dollar over the course of an entire season. And 81 and 82 games and 162 games, all this stuff is just way too long. All of it, where you're making even LeBron James bored at the end of games because none of this actually matters in a season when LeBron James is still playing an enormous number of minutes. Am I wrong when I say the regular season has never meant less than it does today to sports fans?
No, I think you're exactly right. But I think we've been there for quite some time now with the length of the NBA season. We've been talking about trimming these things down. But when you have everything normal, Dan, the NFL starts in September. You don't really pay attention to the NBA until after the NFL is over. And then you go to March Madness, and then the NBA playoffs come around. Then you don't start paying attention until baseball, until the summertime comes around. I mean, with that in mind, it's kind of done correctly in terms of piquing your interest because you can pay attention to football even though basketball is going on. But these regular seasons, with the exception of football, which they should double the games and make them 32, okay? All these regular seasons are way too long. Every one of them.
The reason I'm asking the question now, Greg, is because baseball, which we have been complaining about for about 15 years around here, in terms of slowness, in terms of attention span, in terms of 162 games, baseball absolutely captured our attention during that pandemic because they just shortened everything up. And so I'm asking you, Greg, it's a lament you've heard your entire journalistic lifetime, that once upon a time, baseball, when it was the national pastime, the idea of going out to 81 games in a home park was something that you would do as a family tradition in a different America. But does that even work anymore? I know they need the programming. I know it's 162 games because the Dodgers need to have all that money from the regional programming. But if it's that overt a money grab and you dilute the product so much that the games don't actually mean anything, are we at a saturation point right now because the pandemic has fast-forwarded a bunch of inefficiencies in a bunch of different economies?
Yeah, I think the one of the only positives of this pandemic in sports has been that it's refreshing to see these shorter seasons, to see 72 games instead of 82 and 54 games instead of 82. I think it's been a real positive. And the only sport where every game counts is football. And that's why the NFL and college football, that's king sport because every game matters. Baseball, it isn't just 162 games. They play like 25 games in spring training. And then there's the postseason. So if you're a baseball player, you end up playing 200 games in a season if you're on a good team. And it's just way too many. The games don't count. You can say, oh, they matter as much in May as they do in September.
Well, we get bored with them. They're just an endless run of these games, and even 82 games to me is too many. I like the shortened season. It puts more drama into every game. So I'd love to see this be a point where sports figures out, hey, you know what? We're going to give up a little revenue. We're going to give up a little TV content for the better of the sport.
Billy, are you as amazed as I am? Look at him. He's deeply in character. The performer is back. The entertainer is back. He just did the traditional radio hit of giving us a guest answer to a question. Are you, like me, amazed by the lack of breathing, the coughing, the lack of phlegm in his throat, just the general professionalism of speaking in a soundbite that was used as content professionally and well?
I like the other Greg better, honestly.
Yeah, I miss him.
I can't win around here. When I'm sitting, you don't like me. When I'm standing and pacing and moving around like I'm on a stage, I get criticized. I don't know what to do. Let me stand on my head and see if that works. Maybe if the blood rushes my head.
Let's try that. Can we try that?
Next.
Stugotz here. Let's take a minute for my friends at Advance Auto Parts, our friends at Advance Auto Parts. Listen, Dan and I ask the bare minimum. That's what we ask of you, the audience, okay? Take care of the people who support this show, who get the show, and Advance Auto Parts has been supporting this show for years now, and they get the show, and they have truly become friends with me, Dan, the shipping container, the entire Batard show crew. We love them. We love them. So take good care of them. Why? Because they take good care of us, because they get the show, because I'm telling you to. How about that? Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Amazing. Get this. Advance offers free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. 30 minutes. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Wouldn't it be great if Jeff Bezos got into a bidding war for an NFL team and he loses to his ex-wife, who does it just to spite him?
That'd be great.
I think that's the plot to Ted Lasso.
I also don't think that particular club of people would select his wife over Jeff Bezos. I don't think that they would allow it.
Well, Jeff, I know you're part Latino here, but we got some demos we need to address.
I do love the idea of a bidding war between Bezos and his wife for an NFL, for a single NFL team. Greg, we were talking yesterday about car chases in the movies, and you are a terrible discusser of movies over the course of history, but a lot of people over the course of the evening were sending us Mad Max Fury Road as a car chase. I suppose that would qualify. I guess Baby Driver would qualify as well, because people were making fun of me about the fact that I was going with Ronin, a movie from 20 years ago, as one of the best car chase scenes you've seen. Bullet, some people went earlier than me. Can you put all of those on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show? Best car chase scene in a movie. Go Mad Max Fury Road, go Bullet, go Ronin, go Gone in 60 Seconds, go Baby Driver, go Born Identity, and if you've got something else, go Other as well.
I think people would have been fine if you just went 20 years ago to 2001. You went to 1987, my friend.
Ronin is 1987?
I believe so.
I don't think it's that long ago.
It is not 1987.
No,
then it's early 90s. Roy.
I don't believe it is early 90s.
It might be 1997.
There might be a foreign language film named Ronin from the 80s, but yeah, De Niro's Ronin was in the mid-90s.
Is that a fine? I think it's 2000s. I think that's a fine for Stugotz reading the internet
really?
wrong if you are doing Ronin from the 80s. I believe that what is that fine for you? Do we know?
I believe it's 5 cents.
I wasn't asking you.
For reading the internet wrong, it's a $5 major.
A $5 major
really?
on the wrong.
Really? Well, can we find out if I'm wrong first? I mean,
1998.
You are wrong.
I mean, listen, that's 20 years ago. I mean,
Dan can get some too, though, for correcting me.
Split you halfway.
What am I getting?
He said early 2000s on Ronin.
Okay, so 1998. I'm sorry. That feels like 20 years. That feels close enough. You know what? I just saw money in your. I just saw you pull out money.
I'm tired of leaving this year, and then I get no change. I mean,
you only have a 50. That's all you
I
have
today. Yes, that's all I have.
Just don't invest in the stock market, kids. Just avoid it entirely. It is bad. Stugotz, do not look. Do not look.
Bloodbath?
Oh, my God.
Really?
It's the worst. I've been doing this for quite a long time, as you know, for a month or so. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Woo!
What is happening right now?
Blood everywhere.
The Bears
Blood.
are out.
Blood everywhere. I have like about approximately.
Bears are out.
Dude, I have like 35 stocks in my portfolio. I am deep red on all but one.
Wow.
It is.
Wow.
It is. It's
Bad portfolio.
It just started.
It's really bad.
Greg, what do you know about investments? I'm actually interested in this conversation with
Nothing.
Greg Cote.
He knows
Well,
nothing.
I want to continue a conversation we were having last week. Greg, how many shoes do you actually own? I want an answer, a correct answer to this. Your son was theorizing that you own 3 pairs of shoes total and that you've
Right.
owned that one stinky pair of boat shoes for 30 years.
Is a straight red line going down bad?
I own 3 pair of shoes. 2 I wear constantly. The third pair is a pair of sneakers, so I only wear that when I'm like riding a bike or pretending to do exercise. But my deck shoes, my boat shoes, and my dress shoes, my battered dress shoes, are integral to my being. I couldn't live without them. So, yeah, 3 pair is the correct answer. 2 pair worn regularly is the sub answer.
How bad do your boat shoes smell?
You know, I don't think they smell bad at all. But you know, I don't know how to answer that question.
I just
Do
like
they?
pictured. I know the smell, and I just imagined it. Oh.
How old are those shoes? The boat shoes that you have, and I'd like for you to tweet out a photograph of those shoes at some point. How old are those shoes?
I tend to buy a new pair of shoes about once every 10 years. No, but here's the caveat. If boat shoes get wet, even though it's ironic really because they're called boat shoes.
Doesn't
but if they
stop
get
him.
wet,
It doesn't stop
if
him.
they
He
get
keeps
wet,
wearing them.
they're terrible. They're terrible if they get wet. You can't get rid of that fungusy odor.
God.
Yeah, so it's.
Chris, can we bother your mom at work just to get an honest assessment about A, how old those shoes are, and B, just a description of those shoes from your mother, please?
You're thinking it's not 10 years ago?
I think it's probably more than 10 years. But getting to the original question, investments, you and investment, if I were to look through your portfolio, what would that look like? You don't have an investment advisor, correct? Or does your wife handle all of that stuff? Do you know how anything works in finance outside of an ATM?
We do have an investment advisor. I think he refers to himself augustly as a wealth manager. But my wife deals with all that. Look, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't deal with anything. I don't pay our bills. I don't deal with our investor. I know we have a very diversified portfolio, and I don't even know what that phrase means. I don't know whether we're taking a bath right now because of the stock market or whether we're doing well. I have zero idea. I know we sat down with our guy a couple of years ago for like 6 hours, and he told us everything. A couple of years ago, and he told us everything about our financial situation, but I don't know anything. My wife does all that.
Greg, outside of cooking and writing, I want a list here. In what ways are you able to prove to us that you're not a 65-year-old toddler?
What the hell does that mean? What do you mean?
Outside of writing and your ability to cook things for yourself, to feed yourself, what can you do to prove to an audience? Let's say the audience is arriving today and needs proof that you're not a 65-year-old toddler. What would you put in front of them as proof of things you could do to prove that you're not a 65-year-old toddler?
Okay, I'm still not sure what you mean by the phrase 65-year-old toddler.
65-year-old baby, Greg.
I have a successful podcast.
Jeez.
I have an artistic
Who's on this week?
Kept asking.
I don't know what you want.
I have a successful podcast. Please tell me more. I heard it's going to be on satellite radio now.
Yeah, the Greg Cote Show podcast is going to be available on Sirius XM beginning Monday, March 8th. Very proud of that, and it's done very well. So I'm proud of that because that's just in the past year that we've started that. I'm very good outdoors. I have a green thumb. I have an artistic side, which I can show evidence of. And, I'm a varied man. I'm a Renaissance man. You all know that. I mean, just because I don't involve myself in our finances, that's minutia to me. That's minutia to me. I have no money in my wallet. I don't even know where my wallet is. My wife handles all that. She's great. God love her. I don't know what I would do without her. I mean, because she just does all the work that I don't want to do, such as opening the mail and dealing with bills and all that crap.
Is it true that when you're at a restaurant with your wife, while looking at a menu, you will say to her, "Honey, what do I like here?"
I have been known to say that only because
I like you asking as if you don't know.
Yes, but only because she memorizes. She's a very smart woman. She memorizes menus. I don't know what I ordered the last time I was in that restaurant. She probably remembers. So she'll tell me, "You had the ribeye last time, and you thought it was overcooked because they tried to sell you on, hey, it's made with coffee grinds or something, and you tried it and it was terrible." So I'm like, "Thank you for that. I will not go there again," and then I'll order something else. She reminded me the other day that I like fried lasagna, which I didn't remember having liked that. Yeah. My memory isn't what it used to be,
So wait, just to be clear, though, the way that you're proving that you're not a 65-year-old toddler is that your wife reminded you the other day that you like fried lasagna.
Right, because it seems like an unnatural food, and we saw it on the menu, and she's like, "Don't you remember we had that about 6 years ago when we were in Rome or something?"
Put it on the poll,
It's
Guillermo.
her job to remember these things.
Put it on the poll. Wouldn't you remember liking fried lasagna? Yes or no?
I don't
Greg's
think you would.
defense, toddlers don't have wives.
Yes, that's fair.
You.
Thank
Greg's
you.
defense.
He loves it. It is the thing that makes me most want to throw Guillermo into the sea. Something that starts in someone else's defense. I don't know how you defend. It's unforgivable.
Fair and balanced
It's
over here.
unforgivable to defend the forgetting of liking fried lasagna. It's not.
No, it isn't. Thank you, Billy.
Do toddlers have wives?
No, you're right. You're right.
defense.
You really checkmated me in his defense.
Congratulations, Greg, on your show being simulcast on SiriusXM. That is a pretty big deal. I do find it funny that during our free agency, 4 of the squares in this Zoom have shows on SiriusXM. None of them Dan and Stu.
It is fairly amazing.
Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We will get to funniest thing from the sports weekend in a second, a day late in true Lebitard show fashion. We will not have a back in my day today in true Greg Cote fashion. We will, however, get to a couple of sounds here before funniest thing that I wanted to talk about. One of them, Stugotz, involves Deion Sanders. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I still remain confused as to what happened here, whether his stuff was stolen and then returned or just misplaced. We'll get to that in just a second. But before we do so, did you see the back and forth? Did you, Greg Cote, and did you, Stugotz, see Naomi Osaka after she knocks out Serena Williams, and that might be the end of Serena Williams. No shame in that. She has lasted into her late 30s as a dominant force, and when I say the end of Serena Williams, I don't imagine she's got much use for chasing Osaka around through the last of her 30s.
Don't do it. I care about you. She's chasing majors. She's chasing Margaret Court, I believe. She's chasing history. She's chasing being regarded as the best ever. So.
I don't mean to dismiss her. She just, athletes age in their late 30s, and it's really hard in that sport. I've seen the men actually are doing stuff in their late 30s, so maybe I don't mean to doubt Serena Williams, but that was one of the stories of the weekend when Osaka took her out again, the idea that the torch might have been passed. That's fine. If you don't want to doubt her, I do not blame you. But the part I wanted to talk to you about is, did you and Greg see what happened in her speech afterward as she was talking about Jennifer Brady? Do you guys know the mistake that she made, or you don't know the mistake that she made?
I do not know the mistake that
Greg,
she made.
do you know the mistake she made?
Yes.
Yes or no? Okay, let's play that sound for the audience so the audience can hear it.
Firstly, I want to do you like to be called Jenny or Jennifer? Jenny. Okay. Firstly, I want to congrat Jennifer.
You saw what happened there, right?
Well, I heard it.
You heard what happened there. What happened?
I don't know.
I thought so. I knew I had him cornered. You'd play it for him again. See if because he laughed, but I didn't.
Or Jenny.
Let's play it again.
Firstly, I want to do you like to be called Jenny or Jennifer? Jenny. Okay. Firstly, I want to congrat Jennifer.
Did she say Jimmy?
Okay, let's play it one more time for Stugotz to see if he understands the insult here.
Firstly, I want to do you like to be called Jenny or Jennifer? Jenny. Okay. Firstly, I want to congrat Jennifer.
So what ended up happening there, Stugotz, and I understand that the edit is kind of quirky, is that asked her whether she prefers Jennifer or Jenny. Jenny said she prefers Jenny. And then Naomi Osaka congratulated Jennifer. So people took it as a disrespect to ask her what she wanted to be called and then ignore her and call her what she wanted to call her. But Osaka wrote on Twitter, "OMG, no, I promise you my mind thought I called her Jenny in that moment, and I was so confused why the crowd was laughing. I'm so sorry." Is Chris Cote willing to allege something sinister there? Are you willing to believe that Naomi Osaka decided to reverse troll our Jenny Brady?
I want it to be true, and I was kind of thinking of having that take and putting that on her, but she sounds so delightful and so nice that I just can't believe that.
Well, I'm so sorry on Twitter sort of punctures that. The apology is a little too strong to think it's trolling.
That in her history, I think she felt badly beating Serena Williams in a final one time. Remember that, Mike? She was like crying because she prevented Serena from winning and tying the Grand Slam record.
Idolized Serena Williams.
Yes.
Well, if you don't know what's true there, or if that makes it too obvious what is true, let's see. Are you okay, Greg? Is everything all right?
Yeah, we're good. Thanks.
I had to look into the Zoom to make sure he was okay. That sounded scary. You all right?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sure? Just like in a general sense? You good? Okay.
Greg, you good?
I'm good. You good?
My dad is that guy, though, that on his deathbed, he'll be telling me that he's fine.
Yeah.
Like, he just is always... He doesn't like to give in and doesn't like to show any weakness. I'm fine. Yeah, that noise that you just heard, that was my neck snapping. I'm fine.
Let's play the sound. Jesus,
I
Greg.
believe it.
Just play the show killer sound for me, please. Just find the show killer. It's
Show killer.
Osaka just sounded nervous to me, Dan.
That's I'm with you. There's nothing
got
there.
caught up.
Yes, so let's move on to whether or not this is true, what Deion Sanders alleged here after the first Jackson State victory of his coaching career.
God bless you. Appreciate you and everything. I'm pissed off right now because I have mixed emotions. We won. The kids played really well. But while the game was going on, somebody came in and stole every darn thing I had in my locker room, in the coach's office. Yeah. Credit cards, wallet, watches. Thank God I had on my necklaces. How? When I talk about equality and raising the standards, and that goes for everyone, man. Not just the people on the field, not just the coaches, not just the teachers, not just the faculty, but that's everybody, security and everybody. So how do you think it feels coming back after just teary-eyed because the guys have presented me with the game ball, one of the best moments I've ever had in my professional sports career emotionally, and then you go into your locker room, your coach's office to digress, and you notice and you don't even have a phone to call your mama, to call your girl, to call your kids because it's been stolen. You don't even have the Scully hats that you wore here. We're going to find out who did it.
So what happened? When someone explained to me, is that a stolen group of items that were then returned after he smoked the people out? Or did he make a false accusation because things had simply been moved and he thought they were stolen?
He said that there was a witness. They found the person who stole the stuff. He got his stuff back, and there was a person on his staff who witnessed all of this going down. So
I've read two conflicting reports about what happened, so it's difficult to talk about because I don't know whether he was actually ripped off or whether it was a misunderstanding, because I also read that his items were misplaced. They were moved to a more secure area, which he didn't realize at the time. So he thought they'd been stolen, but ultimately they weren't. That's what I read. And the only reason I was laughing when I was listening to him is that I think most he just won a game 53-0. I think most coaches in that situation would not have made a spectacle of the fact that they had been burglarized during the game. I thought it was unusual that he brought that up in his post-game news conference. I think if that happened to an NFL coach, he doesn't say that in his post-game news conference. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just thought it was odd that Deion went there to the media rather than just kept it a private matter.
I think most coaches don't have the valuables that Deion has in his bag, you know?
At least he was wearing his chains. So.
Now, I imagine it's scary if you're actually committing the act of stealing. You're breaking into the office, you're looking over your shoulder, making sure nobody's around. But imagine trying to return the stuff after you've realized that he knows it's been stolen. That's even scarier because now he's like on to you, probably sitting in his office. So that must have been scary all around for the person that did it.
You think they did that thing where they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to turn off the lights, and if you have the missing things, just put it on the table, and then there's no questions, and there'll be no consequences for anyone. Has that ever worked? Probably not, right? Like, every time I've ever been in a situation like that, one, I'm like, how did I end up here? I definitely don't have this thing. And also, the lights go off, and then the lights come on, and nothing has appeared. Has that ever worked?
Well, Deion's maintaining, all right, this is from Twitter, quote, whomever is putting out the lie that my belongings weren't stolen is lying. A staff member walked in on the theft being committed, but she couldn't fight a dude off. I didn't think it was strange that Deion didn't keep that private. In fact, if Deion gets his stuff stolen, I am going to imagine that Deion is going to get his stuff back. But he did sort of take whatever shine was on his football team and his coaching debut, just like it was stolen from him that moment and being able to share it by phone with his kids and his family. He ended up stealing the entirety of that moment for the people involved in the 53-0 victory, because nobody was talking about that. They were just talking about the idea of really somebody stole Deion's stuff, and Deion he's doubling down on my stuff was stolen, man. This was not misplaced.
His only sentence about the game was, for one, the kids played really well. Then right into everything was stolen.
Well,
from
me. He said a moment was stolen from him, though, because it was a highlight for him of his career. He's saying professionally, that dude has had a great many professional highlights. He's saying emotionally that moment was stolen from him.
Did you see the initial comments in the press conference? Because he said when he decided to come to that school, he was going to not just he was going to elevate the program, and that means everybody, from the kids to the coaches to the janitors to the security guards. Like, he was just going down a list of suspects for who stole it. The whole criticism of hiring Deion Sanders was, well, that has potential to be a circus, and then blasts the competition in the first game. It's amazing, and he's his own enemy in terms of optics because it all becomes about a caper around his jewelry.
But it is a caper. He's saying.
But is it?
He is saying, well, he is insisting that this is not an innocent mistake, that his stuff was stolen and his stuff is valuable.
Could it be that someone was securing the stuff for him, looking after it for him? He forgot about it. He's getting old. It happens. Like stuff like that.
The stuff, the end of it was that the stuff was returned, but there's still this whole mystery surrounding this poor woman that had to fight off an assailant that apparently just got away with stealing and returning. That's the part of the story that I think we're just bypassing.
Like, why would you return it? He got away. He stole it. That lady wasn't able to stop him. And then, an hour later, he's just like, oh, I see this press conference. Now I feel bad? Like, what?
It's like the most badass criminal of all time. I'm just stealing it to show you I can, Prime.
Why are they still playing now? Like, are they going to play again in the fall?
I really don't understand why there are football games in February, but I'm more interested in discussing whether this was a caper or a heist.
The Southwest Athletic Conference. Hey, see, why is college football going on the SWAC? I mean,
put it on the poll, Guillermo, is the Deion Sanders situation a caper or a heist? I want to get to the answers here. I do think it's a funny thing. All of a sudden now, what you're associated, Deion Sanders is going to Jackson State. He is coaching at Jackson State. They have won his first game. And I am led to believe that Jackson State has a thieving problem because of what happened with Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders brought attention to something that sounds like he was a victim on.
You made caper and heist the only two options. Can you make age one of the options?
Well, you think that Deion just misplaced his things and now has accused everyone in security and janitor and janitorial. He's accused everyone at Jackson State for just being old.
This has me curious as to what exactly the hierarchy is of theft. Is the top of the pyramid the heist followed by the caper? If so, what's below that? And is petty theft just the very bottom rung of this ladder?
Where does burglary fit in?
Burglary has got to be a mid-table team in this. Pickpocket, lower tier of the table, about to get relegated.
I always get confused that robber is a word, right? When I see robber in the news, I always think that can't be right. We're like, the robber got away. I'm like, that sounds like a 5-year-old describing a situation where a criminal came in and took something.
What's the difference between a robber and a burglar?
One steals hamburgers. I know that.
Did you just put an L in robber as well?
It happens.
I know. It happens to me more than anyone talking about age.
Yeah, I'll start season on ticks. Okay, I got a checklist right now.
No. I just wait a minute.
No, we don't want that.
This is a frustrating thing. I don't want it.
Sensitive he's getting.
I don't want it. The thing that
just let it slide.
I can't let it slide because the audience won't let it slide.
I said robbler because I followed it up with burglar. So I'm not Jay-Z here, okay? Even he gets in the booth and makes a mistake occasionally, folks.
At least you didn't do it in front of Iron Eagle.
Stugotz here for my friends over at DraftKings. It is not quite time for the madness that is college basketball in March, but that doesn't mean the fun has to wait. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all new players the chance to cash $100. New customers can bet $1 on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week, and if your team makes it rain, you cash $100. Simple. It's that easy. That's right. All it takes is for one three-pointer being hit by your chosen team to turn $1 into $100. Sounds like a no-brainer. This slam dunk of an offer won't be around forever, so head to the App Store now, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and get in on all of the action. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its customers since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Dan to get your shot to turn $1 into $100 when you bet on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. That's promo code Dan for new customers to get a shot at 100-1 odds on any basketball team to hit a three-point shot only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, Michigan, or Virginia only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Winnings paid out in 4 $25 free bets. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT, or in Virginia, call 888-532-3500.
I feel like pillage is pretty high on the hierarchy.
Pillage is the worst.
Pillage is, yeah.
If you've been pillaged, there's nothing worse.
That's not true, because the other phrase I associate with pillaged is raped. I'm sorry to bring that to the conversation.
They usually go hand in hand, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But in 2021, I find it hard to believe someone's calling 911 saying, "Hello, I'd like to report a pillaging."
I'm being pillaged.
I've been pillaged.
So is pillage the worst? That's the top of breaking and entering is a little too formal. So what is the hierarchy of thievery then? Let's go ahead and do this since we're here. Let's see what the hierarchy actually is. The very top of the list, we are making pillage. This is the hierarchy. Pillaged is the worst. You can't do worse than pillage, but I don't feel, I guess pillaged is both taking your stuff and violently taking your stuff.
Mm-hmm. It is weird how it goes hand in hand with rape, which is like horrible. But I wonder if there were pirates in the day that is just like, well, I'm just a pillage guy personally.
All I am is I'm sticking straight.
Yeah, guys, not for me. I've decided I'm just a pillager.
Yeah, I just pillage.
This is getting out of hand.
I'm putting it in compartments, and I'm only willing to go as far as pillaging. That's the highest for me. I'm not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And
I'll do the scurvy. Well, I'm in on the scurvy. Love myself some scurvy. And pillaging. Love it. But you guys are a little intense with all that other stuff.
I love the idea. I love the idea. I don't know whether that is a woke pirate, but it is a pirate applying some morals to his. This is where I draw the line professionally in terms of what I'm willing to do.
Neil the compliance pirate.
Where's pilfering on this list?
Pilfering sounds softer than pillaging.
Pilfering, pillaging. You got to work up to pillage. You got to, beta test hit the pilfering.
No, but I think pilfering is more in the pickpocket realm. Pilfering doesn't involve any violence. It's just sort of like I'm sneaking in, I'm sneaking out, I'm grabbing
shoplifting.
Well, I want to let me backtrack for a second as you guys gather yourself here on the hierarchy to help us, because I want to get back to this whole wallet situation. Are Greg Cote and I the only people presently on this show owning a wallet? Because you guys pointed this out to me last week, and you were mocking the idea that I have a wallet and that it's a fat wallet and it's your granddad's wallet and it's just filled with stuff. But no one informed me that we had moved off of the wallet. No one informed me. I see that Stugotz reaches into his pocket and pulls out a stack of things. I just thought he was sloppy and disorganized.
We've moved off of money. I mean, forget about a wallet.
Well, I have a wallet, but I think people have moved on to money clips and whatnot.
Okay, so money clips. What? Put it on the poll,
in the back of the phone, Dan. A lot of these people, which growing up, I was led to believe, don't put your credit cards near your cell phone because of the waves. It's gonna you can't put your hotel room doesn't work. Oh, what? That's because you had the key next to the cell phone, genius. Now we're just putting all the cards behind the phone, which seems counterintuitive to me.
I have young people laughing at me that I still go to the ATM. I take out money. I like to carry money. You never know when you're going to need it, and they're like, "That's what you have your bank card for." Like they're laughing at me.
Does an Apple Wallet count as a wallet? Because then I think we're all in the same boat.
Cody, you must own a wallet. You must own an old-fashioned wallet.
I do. I wallets like shoes or something I buy once every 10 years. I still own a wallet. Not only that, I have photos in my wallet. I have pictures of Christopher when he was 6 years old.
That's old school.
I got to see him.
That's old school.
Of my wife. Yes.
I'm just curious. This is not age shaming here. Have you guys ever paid for anything at a checkout with your phone?
I have paid for Starbucks.
You did? You did it seamlessly. You held it up to the reader.
Off the app, held the bar to the reader. Yeah.
Wow, I'm very proud of you guys, Greg.
I don't know how to do that. No, I've never done it. I've seen people do it, and they always look strange. I always feel like tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "What the hell are you doing? Pull $1 out of your wallet like a normal human being." Come on.
It is such a funny place to have arrived where Stugotz, I love the idea of Stugotz condescending me, shaming me because I have a wallet and I am stuck in an organizational past that is beneath him.
Can you describe the sensation that you got the first time that you did it? Were you nervous? You're like, oh boy, this is
trembling.
I'm in the Jetsons right now. What is this? Okay.
Well, which part are you talking about? Just the using the phone at Starbucks?
Yeah.
Or, no, I don't like it.
The trepidation of just putting your phone to the reader, is your hand shaking a little bit, like, oh God, please, I don't want to stand here for 15 minutes and be the old guy that needs help figuring it out, and then everyone knows my passcode. Is this really going to work? Do I have any money in my phone?
I'm with Dan. I hated the experience. I've never got gone back to it.
I'd be scared, honestly, of having my driver's license outside of my wallet. I had something happen to me the other day that I had no idea was possible. Put this on the poll, please, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. Did you have any idea that you could be carded for kombucha? Because I had no idea. First of all, I got carded at 50, which is weird to me. So I had to fish through a wallet to find my driver's license.
Do you roll your eyes and do that thing before you take out the license? Like, hey, really? I'm 50.
But I just didn't. Did you know? Is this something?
Were you wearing your mask?
That it has an alcohol? Yes, that it has an alcohol content that kombucha gets you can get you carded.
I didn't know that.
I had no earthly idea that was possible.
I was going to ask you: is there CBD in the kombucha or something like that? You got carded because you were wearing your mask. Right, had to have been.
I don't know why anyone.
Well, you look younger in the mask.
I don't know why.
Because you're dressed like you're going to go to Vans.
I don't look 18 though.
Have you guys been Stugotz, Dan? Have you guys figured out the whole sticking of the chip into the credit card machine? Have you guys figured out that technology?
Yes, that's fairly easy for me. Yes,
Greg.
I have, but I was in an Olive Garden a few days ago when I was up in Vero Beach visiting someone, and they had the thing at the table where you can pay at the table, and I started to slide the credit card in the chip thing, but it was a little slot, but it wasn't where it was supposed to go, and it turned out it was around the side, and it was totally confusing. And you know, what is the waiter doing if he's not taking my bill? Why do I have to pay manually at a restaurant? It doesn't make any sense to me. That's part of why I tip the waiter, is for good service, a genial attitude, and the whole transactional thing at the end. So he's should I tip him less now because he's not there to take my check? I mean, how does that work?
And actually, if you go to like European countries, they like bring the card reader to you, and there's that whole thing. But also, one of the things that we have not explored enough as Americans is the concept of contactless. They make credit cards that act like Apple Pay, and I have them. I'm like the only person I know that uses contactless at those readers. They have like the 3 little lines, and we have not explored this enough as a people.
Judgy Parisians. When I went in there, the last time I went to Paris, and I had the old school credit card that, I'm sorry, you had to swipe, that didn't have the chip in, they looked at me with such contempt when I was asking them, can you please swipe this? They were like, American, and they blew cigarette smoke in my face.
I'm with Greg on this. Greg, you don't even have to say it, but I know where we're going. The contactless, what's to stop someone from walking by with one of these contactless things and just start, tapping you in the pocket, and all of a sudden you got nothing? Give me cash. Cash is king, right, Greg?
That's right, Billy. You're always right.
I have had a recent development that has been hugely frustrating in that I dropped my telephone a while ago and my camera does not work correctly. And I am now having a nightmare when it comes to these restaurants and menus that aren't menus because they don't want to hand you menus and they just want your phone to sort of pick up something. Yeah. And so I simply can't do it with the state of my phone. And I'm glad that you're laughing at me, Cody. Do you have some expertise with the phone used on a menu? I want to find the places, Greg, where you are most being left behind. Because if this is happening to me and Stugotz and Roy, it has to be happening to you in a way that you are constantly looking around and being like, good God, so I'm out of the game totally now with my wallet, with my dollars, with my cash. I'm just out of the game.
So in lieu of a back in my day, the entire show is just one giant back in my day.
Yes, Greg. This is the thing, Mike, that reminded me of it, okay? We talk on this week's South Beach Sessions to somebody who was wrongly imprisoned for 37 years. And the story is a crazy one. And that person was supposed to receive, for each year that they were wrongly incarcerated and on death row for some of the years, that person was supposed to receive $50,000 a year for every year they were wrongly incarcerated so that they can make a transition with, almost $2 million. Not justice exactly, because I don't know how many of you would trade 37 years of freedom for $1.8 million, but wasn't able and isn't able to get that money because of a crime committed when he was 17 before the offense he wasn't guilty of, in which some car parts were stolen. And so as a teenager, he is now not entitled to any of that money. And the transition obviously becomes very, very hard with no money. But one of the things that I hadn't considered that he was talking about that I found fascinating was coming out of jail after being in jail for 37 years and just the sheer number of things that have changed that you simply don't recognize the world you're walking into because you've been away for 37 years and now you come out of jail into freedom. And why is everyone in their phones and what are they doing with their phones? And what do you mean that everything in a Miami I don't recognize, a Miami that's totally different from the Miami I used to know or the Florida I used to know? What are all of these people doing with their telephones? I have no access to this. I don't recognize it.
But Tom Brady's still playing quarterback.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There must be soothing and solace in that.
He's still here. Stugotz here. Let's take a minute for my friends at Advance Auto Parts, our friends at Advance Auto Parts. Listen, Dan and I ask the bare minimum. That's what we ask of you, the audience, okay? Take care of the people who support this show, who get the show, and Advance Auto Parts has been supporting this show for years now, and they get the show, and they have truly become friends with me, Dan, the shipping container, the entire Batard show crew. We love them. We love them. So take good care of them. Why? Because they take good care of us, because they get the show, because I'm telling you to. How about that? Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Amazing. Get this. Advance offers free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. 30 minutes. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We'll get to Ron Magill in a second. We will get to Funniest Thing from the Sports Weekend before we get out of here today. Here is a quote, Stugotz, from Ted Cruz on the Ruthless podcast. He is talking about the group text leaker because one of the many things that was funny about everything that happened with Ted Cruz, or as some people are calling him now, Fled Cruz, is that he was betrayed by somebody within his family or close circle of friends with his wife who were on a group text. And I guess that was released to the New York Times. So he tells the Ruthless podcast, quote, "Here's a suggestion. Just don't be assholes. You know, treat each other as human beings, have some degree, some modicum of respect." That is lacking in self-awareness in a way that is amazingly absurd.
I'm familiar with that creature.
Well, yeah, but that is the, here's a suggestion, just don't be assholes, is basically the criticism that a whole lot of people, if you could put it in a couple of sentences, would lob at him and the things that he represents. Before we get to Ron Magill, though, and Funniest Thing from the Sports Weekend, our friend Dominique Foxworth, Stugotz, looks pretty good here in an exchange that he had with Jerry Richardson, the former owner of the Carolina Panthers before. What's that guy's name, Chris, that now owns the
Tepper?
The Panthers?
Tappers.
So the back and forth between them, Stugotz, between Richardson and Dominique Foxworth, when they were talking about the 17-game season, because we're back in a place here where we're looking at the possibility of a 17-game season, the possibility of more games, more greed, and the back and forth with Dominique Foxworth and Jerry Richardson is super interesting. We'll get to that as soon as we are done here with Ron Magill, and we have your questions for Ron Magill as well.
Wow, the rare tease, little Jerry Richardson tease before Ron Magill.
It's more of a Dominique Foxworth tease, and this is it's not? Okay, yeah. Jerry Richardson tease. We will get to that because Dominique Foxworth looks pretty good in this exchange. But, Ron, thank you for being with us. We will go around the Zoom here. Roy, what do you have for Ron Magill of Zoom Miami?
Two questions, Ron. In the entire animal kingdom, what group of animals are the best pack hunters, and what animal is the best individual hunter?
Well, I mean, when you go with pack hunter, it's got to be either the wild dog or the wolf. Those are two of the best pack hunters. I would almost go with the wild dog in the sense that I have watched them hunt in the wild, and they'll go into a huddle. They'll see a prey. They'll see like an antelope. They'll see an iguana, an impala, and they'll say, okay, we're going to get that. They get into a huddle nose to nose, and then like all of a sudden they all go, great, and they go in different directions. And you wonder, why are they all going in different directions? Why are they chasing the antelope? Well, then the one animal chases the antelope, and what you realize is that's chasing that antelope to the next animal that's waiting to kind of pick up the relay. And then that animal picks up and it chases it to another animal. They station themselves along the way, so as they're constantly running this impala, they get new fresh legs where the impala is just getting more and more tired until finally the one animal can catch up to it, and then they all go in there and rip it apart alive. It's just absolutely phenomenal to watch. It's this incredible teamwork. It's like they've got this predetermined route that they're going to run that antelope to the next dog, run it to the next dog, pass the baton until the antelope just passes out, and then they tear it apart. So there's incredible planning there, incredible teamwork, probably the most effective pack animal I've seen. Single hunter, God, that can go to so many different types of predators. But I always want to give it to the leopard because of the strength of the leopard. The African leopard, I have seen an African leopard take down an antelope that weighs half again its own weight, twice its own weight. I mean, you'll take a leopard, take down an antelope, a leopard that weighs 125 pounds, 150 pounds, take down an antelope that weighs, over 200 pounds, not only kill it, but then just by grabbing on the neck, take it up a tree, 20, 30 feet, just pulling it on its claws. It's got this thing in its head. Try to imagine, Roy, let's say you weigh 150, okay? Try to imagine just putting something 150 pounds in your mouth, holding it with a strap in your mouth, and then climbing a tree with it, and then locking it up on the top. Just an incredible predator.
Greg, what do you have for Ron Magill?
Ron, I was surprised to learn that a polar bear is classified as a marine mammal. And I wonder, in your estimation, what is the most truly amphibious animal in terms of being equally adept on land and water?
Wow. That's a hard one. I don't think there's one that's really equally adept at both. There are certainly turtles and lizards that are known to spend a lot of, the Malayan water monitor could spend an awful lot of time in the water and, of course, be very, very effective on land. There are many turtles, of course, that can do both but need the water. So I don't know. I mean, polar bear would be one that I would think of right away. I mean, because of the fact that though it is classified as a marine mammal, it's basically because it feeds on seals and that type of marine mammal out at sea. I believe that a polar bear could easily adapt to feeding on things like caribou or other land mammals if and when the time comes that sea ice no longer exists and it has to adapt to survive. So I think the polar bear would be the best one as far as equally adept at both areas.
We were talking earlier about being surprised that Big Bird was a swimmer. What is something or many things from the animal kingdom that people might be surprised has the ability to swim?
The first one that comes to mind, and I think is a perfect example, it's the sloth. Look at a sloth. This is the slowest land mammal on Earth. It goes about 6 feet a minute on the ground, but is one of the most effective swimmers you could ever imagine. They spend their life up in the trees, but they will transverse canals. I've seen a sloth cross the Panama Canal, swimming very effectively to get from one side of the canal to the other. So they are very good swimmers, but they look like anything but a good swimmer. The other thing that are very good swimmers that people sometimes don't give enough credit for are all snakes. All snakes can swim really well. Some of them much better than others, but they can all swim really well.
Ron, as a follow-up to that, we were talking about the Muppets and Sesame Street earlier. Have there been any examples in pop culture that you've seen of an animal or cartoon or whatever that was given these human-like qualities that really kids shouldn't think, oh my God, that's such a friendly animal, let me associate with that animal because of a movie? Where the kind of the people that have put it out have been reckless in that they've endangered children by making these things seem lovable when they're not.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is a hippo. I mean, I don't know exactly which cartoon, but I've seen so many cartoons with hippos, dressed in tutus and dancing, and they're happy, and everything's happy hippo. And I know everybody loves a hippo, and we all love Dan Lebitard the hippo. Don't get me wrong. That's a unique hippo. But generally speaking, hippos are the most dangerous animals in Africa. More people are killed and injured by hippos than any other animal on the continent. And a lot of that is because people don't take them seriously. They think this big, heavy, fat, gorgeous-looking type of happy little chubby animal they're on is not going to do any damage. And those things can run faster than you could ever imagine, and they can bite you in half.
I saw a video the other day of an elephant taking the hat off of a woman, putting it in its mouth, and then sort of playfully giving it back to her as if he had eaten it. And I know you've told us how smart elephants can be, but what would be the greatest example of something like that you have seen from an elephant to illustrate just how playful or human they can be?
Well, not necessarily playful or human, but just thought process. You guys can Google it. It's a very, very famous video. Google the elephant painting an elephant. It will blow your mind to see how this elephant paints kind of a self-portrait. It'll blow your mind. I mean, for me, to this day, that is something I look at with absolute awe.
Ron, what animal's got the smelliest shit?
I think we've spoken about this before.
You want me to ask it again?
Yeah, hold on, Ron. He's being a wacky hijinks morning show.
Ron, what animal's got the smelliest shit? I can do it again if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Ron, what animal's got the smelliest shit?
I forget we're not on that other radio station anymore. Listen, it's a toss-up between several animals. As a group, I would almost go with bats. Bats have an incredibly strong ammonia-smelling type of feces.
Guano, am I right?
Well, that's pretty bad. But any of the carnivores, generally anything that eats meat has the smelliest feces. I mean, absolute the worst.
Oh, I hate shit.
I've been in a truck one time. I think I told you guys when I was moving a Komodo dragon. We were doing some type of presentation, and the Komodo dragon just busted one loose in the back of the vehicle. And I mean, my eyes watered. Me and my partner, we had to stick our heads out of the window driving because we were gagging. We were throwing up into our mouths. And I don't do that. I don't have that reflex, gag reflex, but I did. I was like, it was so bad. And then, when not just you can smell it, but you can taste it. You taste it in the air. It's so strong. It was awful.
Oh, I hate it when you jump up and down and you see something brown.
What the hell is going on over there?
Why am I laughing?
Chris, what do you have for Ron Magill?
Ron, I was down at Zoo Miami over the weekend. Nice zoo you got there, by the way.
And you didn't tell me you were coming, Chris? I cannot believe it.
I don't want to impose, but by the way, that chicken app at the Oasis Grill, mwah. Anyways.
No, I was here this weekend, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to say it because then Dan's just going to bust my chops.
It gave me the squirts.
So I saw at the giraffe exhibit and the elephant exhibit, I noticed the trees in these exhibits are covered. In the giraffes, they have, it seems like a wiring around them. And then at the elephants, it's like these big bars. Is that just keeping these animals from trying to get up on their hind legs?
No, what it is with the elephants, first of all, they will knock the trees over because elephants will eat the wood. I mean, they knock elephants are what create savannas. Okay, the savannas you see in Africa are originally wooded forests, and elephants create them, so they change environments. Any tree on their exhibit is fair game for them to knock over and kill and eat. So we have to protect those trees by doing that. With the giraffe, we put the wire close to the bark because giraffe will eat the bark. And on any tree, if you eat the bark all the way around, you will kill the tree. Even if you make just a small 1-inch wide belt around, you remove 1-inch wide belt of bark from a tree, it'll kill the tree.
I bet elephant has some massive shits.
Another follow-up on the giraffes. So there's this long line of people waiting to feed the giraffes. Yes. And I see 2 giraffes up there eating, and I know it's lettuce, so it's probably like 0 points on the Weight Watchers diet. But do you ever get the giraffes just overly full, and you have this long line of people, and the giraffes are just like, I'm done, don't want to eat?
Yes, we do. And then they have to either give back the money or they don't take the money in the first place. But it does get to a point sometimes where the giraffes say, I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye.
I hate it when you're stepping up a ladder and you feel something splatter.
Ron, the Bears were out. We were talking about this with the stock market. The Bears were out. Now the Bulls are out as the market is rallying. And it got us into a discussion. Who wins in a fight, bull or a bear?
Well, it depends what bull and it depends what bear. If you're going to go with
Michael Jordan.
Bear, listen, if you're going to go with the biggest bear and the biggest bull, it's the biggest bear. The bull is an omnivore. It eats grass. I mean, a herbivore. It eats grass. It just is a plant eater. It might have some big horns to try to defend itself, but a bear is too fast. A bear is going to take down any size bull. The bear wins.
Who cares? Who cares about that? Who lays the bigger shits? Am I right?
What has this show digressed to, guys?
Ron, good talking to you. Thank you for being on with us. This is the laziest. That is the LeBron game-tying jumper from last night in terms of radio laziness. Farts and burps. Oh, I pressed the wrong one. I'm sorry. That's a meow. Ron, good talking to you. Thank you for being on with us.
Always a pleasure, guys. Be safe. Take care.
See you, Ron.
Love shooting the shit. Oh no, I had bad food last night.
Nothing in life is free. Time for some ads.
All right, let's take a second here for our friends at Advance Auto Parts. I love telling you about Advance Auto Parts. They always have our back, been with us for years. We appreciate their commitment to the show. They get the show. Unlike any other sponsor we've had, I think. They get the show. Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Get this advance offer, free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need and get you there fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
I saw legitimate shame on Mike's face on about the 6th one of those. Like, what am I doing?
I encouraged him to keep going.
He just whispered in my ear. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, no, I mean, it's the show Stugotz wants to do.
What's random about that is I searched fart noise, and this says Mike Gundy fart noise. And I think he did a press conference where he made this sound at the end of it.
No.
Yeah.
That's a Mike, so wait a minute.
I think we talked about it.
This was Mike Gundy? This was right.
Yeah, that's how he responded to a question.
That totally changes this entire thing if I had known that was just Mike Gundy doing a raspberry sound. All right. That's excellent radio. Look at that. Look at Greg Cote. This has got to be, I don't know what it is, but I've got to think that, you correct me if I'm wrong, Stugotz, before speech, is that the original humor? Is that ground zero right there for humor on where humor started?
Yes.
What's before that? Greg Cote, before people can speak. What is before that on ground zero for humor, and why it is that you at 65 years old are still laughing at Mike doing the single laziest thing he's ever done around here? I'm telling you, when I looked at him after the 5th or 6th one, his head was in his hands because he was ashamed of himself.
I was laughing because every time he did it, it made me think of my childhood, where one of my favorite toys was a whoopee cushion. You would put the whoopee cushion under a cushion, and somebody would sit down, and it would make exactly that sound.
So let's get to this story before we get to funniest thing from the sports weekend. Let's get to this story here involving Dominique Foxworth that is coming out today as you hear football going back to the idea of perhaps a 17-game season, and we're all here for more football games, more entertainment, except when you have to start considering the health consequences.
Less baseball, less basketball, more football.
Yeah, and that's where we are with this sport. The owners know that they've got a very good business model, and it doesn't appear, outside of that one time that they had to give back to the country, $5 million, because they had accepted money in exchange for patriotism. It doesn't feel like the NFL ever has much in the way of shame in terms of being greedy. So it's not surprising that Jerry Jones during a pandemic would raise prices on natural gas while his state freezes. And it is not surprising that these owners would try to milk as much out of these bodies as they possibly could. So Foxworth, this is the 2011 labor negotiations. Don Van Natta and Seth Wickersham do a very deep dive here. And this is worth your time if you like the business of sports, because it's an examination of where DeMaurice Smith has succeeded and where he has failed in being the players union rep over all these years.
Does anyone do more deep dives than Wickersham? I'm serious. Does he ever just put his feet in the water? I mean, just a toe in the water?
All right, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does Seth Wickersham ever just put a single toe in the water, or does he always do deep dives? So here is Dominique Foxworth and a back and forth that came the last time they were arguing about 17 games. It's Dominique Foxworth lobbing this at Jerry Richardson, the former Panthers owner. We're not playing 17 games, Jerry, Foxworth told Richardson. It's not going to happen. We can make you, Richardson said, accurately characterizing the status quo under the 2006 CBA. We don't have to ask you. We're being nice by not saying, F you, you have to do it. Foxworth replied, we're being nice by not telling you, F you, we're not playing. Richardson replied, we're being nice by not telling you, F you, we'll play with replacement players. Foxworth replied, we're being nice by not telling you, F you, good luck filling up stadiums with Ryan Leaf at quarterback. And then this ends with Smith interjecting, DeMaurice Smith interjecting at one point, quote, that's a lot of yous, and then he adjourned the meeting. I think it's interesting, Stugotz, that Dominique Foxworth told us a long time ago that when he sat down with Jerry Jones, he assumed going in that Jerry Jones was smarter than he was, and then he talked to Jerry Jones for a while and was like, okay, this person's not actually smarter than I am.
Right. Very few people are, though. I think Dominique learned that.
Well, but
quickly,
I think we tend to overestimate pretty routinely the intelligence of the wealthy simply because they are wealthy. I think we
there's an assumption you make that.
Well,
if they
no,
have
but
that
I think we assign a merit to that is linked to intelligence that I don't believe is accurate. You've heard me say before, I don't like the idea. I don't know if you know, Stugotz. Do you know anything about Yo-Yo Mayweather? Because the daughter of Floyd Mayweather has had a baby with NBA Youngboy, and she is a source of a great deal of people making fun of her and making fun of her intelligence and worried about the guidance of that grandchild of Floyd Mayweather because of the influences in his life. And I've always thought that Floyd Mayweather, while maybe not literate, because 50 Cent likes to tease him about not being literate, that Floyd Mayweather is very smart singularly smart about the thing that he's smart at. And to call these people dumb is to dismiss where their areas of excellence have some actual intelligence. But the reason that I brought up Yo-Yo Mayweather is because she is just getting hammered from every corner of the universe for basically being privileged because she comes from Floyd Mayweather's money. And Floyd Mayweather, you've seen how recklessly he spends. You see that you can make the argument for Floyd Mayweather being the single best businessman in sports that any of us have ever seen in our lifetime. But his daughter is a source of great mockery because she obviously has some of that hand-me-down money, and people already don't like Floyd. And I can't think of a whole lot of people who are getting beat up more than she is on the internet these days, just for being what are you guys laughing about back there?
I think it's Yaya.
Is it?
Yeah.
And what was I calling her?
You made her a toy.
Did I? Okay.
A yo-yo.
I was surprised that I got NBA Youngboy right.
I thought Stugotz was going to think, wow, Trae Young.
Let's do funniest thing from the sports weekend.
It wasn't Trae?
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Funniest thing for the sports weekend on a Tuesday is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
I have confirmed it is indeed Yaya Mayweather. Are you the only person in recorded history to confuse Floyd Mayweather's daughter with a world-famous violinist?
It's a fine, right?
I think so. Also, I can only, for whatever reason, whenever someone introduces Yo-Yo Ma, I can only, the voice in my head is always Jim Nance. Famous violinist Yo-Yo Ma.
The whoopee cushion, Greg Cote, was invented in 1920. The whoopee cushion.
Damn right.
Chris, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Steve Ballmer sitting under the hoop during the Nets-Clippers game, flailing his arms and legs, trying to distract free throw shooters from the Nets.
Billy, did he take yours? You're making faces like if that's the one.
I'm so excited about Ballmer. I was going to do that.
That could be your choice. That could be your choice. What happened?
Steve Ballmer?
Yeah, what was so funny about it? Just that he's funny being roly-poly?
Well, let me try to remember how we do this. He exhibits the behaviors of a crazy person, I would say. He somehow has a seat, what appears to be in play in these games. I don't know how it is that he's so close, but he appears to just be on the court in play, and they just gets run around him. And then he just waves his arms around when there's free throws, and then when there's shots missed, he waves his legs like those car dealership arms that move around outside of a car dealership or whatever. I've never seen anyone move their legs that way, but he just leans back in his chair and his legs are swinging around everywhere, stomping on it. I've never seen anyone behave that way. It's insane. Or wait, it displays the behavior of insanity.
We don't have to play by those rules anymore. You can just say he's a crazy person. Those rules are somebody else's. Sued? You think you're going to get? You think Steve Ballmer is going to chase you down for calling him a crazy person?
He's a big listener of this.
Chris Cote.
He loves a whoopee cushion, right? He has to.
Does.
Steve Ballmer loves a good whoopee.
I would love
just making fart noises.
I would love to see his reaction to someone sitting on a whoopee cushion. I can already visualize it in my head.
Steve Ballmer is an armpit farter for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely.
He does the Brendan
What toy
Fraser
do you
clap.
think he doesn't like? I imagine him getting really upset when a Slinky doesn't make it all the way down his Grandmaster staircase in his house.
Chris, why didn't you get in there with your Mike Undy joke? What happened?
I don't know. You guys got me gun shy a little bit. I don't know. I just
Really?
I feel like I'm mocked. Like,
Mike,
I felt like everyone would have stared at me, and then I would have had to be like, "Cause underwear."
Would have been funny, man.
Greg, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I know I probably shouldn't, but I just really got a kick out of Deion Sanders turning his post-game news conference into what he used it as a platform to just tell the world that he'd been burgled. And I still don't know what's happening with that, what the truth is, but I found it. I was laughing out loud when I saw that
Robbled. He was robbled.
I also can picture someone calling the police. Hello, I've been burgled.
Well, Deion. No, I want you to imagine Deion doing it.
I'd like to report a burglar. I've been burgled.
I've been a burglar.
Just Deion walking into the room. Been burgled.
Roy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
The outdoor game between Colorado and Vegas in Lake Tahoe was postponed after the first period because of unplayable conditions because the sun melted the ice. This happened during a Colorado power play, and effectively Vegas killed off a 9-hour power play.
They resumed the game at night 9 hours later, right? 9 hours later. That's so
Restarted at midnight,
Stugotz, what do you have? Funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Dan, I don't know where this came from, but it's funny. Nobody in human history has ever sent a text message about the Bengals winning a playoff game. Why? Bengals' last playoff win, 1991. First text message ever sent, 1992.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good right there. So, Mike, do you have the sound? This isn't from the weekend, but do you have simply the sound of the LeBron James game-tying or trying to be game-tying shot last night. One of the laziest finishes to a game. You've got to see this, Stugotz. You have to see how LeBron just didn't bother to get anywhere near anything that resembled a good shot, and just so it's as close as he will ever come to looking like he had no interest in going into overtime, that he had no interest in tying that game. And listen to the sound that the shot made, Stugotz, when it hit the backboard.
LeBron to tie.